right. Welcome to Trinity Podcast, where we're helping Americans understand and master real estate investing, personal and business credit, and the money matrix, how each one of these affects you and how to leverage your Trinity wealth and take control of your economic independence. So today we have Becky Estep here. She is my co-host, and I am Joanna Wright, founder of Bottom Line Wealth. Becky Estep, such an amazing business person with business credit and personal credit, decades of experience there. You're going to learn so much from her. And today we're going to jump on why multiple streams of income. Why is it important? Where to get started? When's a great time? Becky, how do you choose something like this? I would love to have, this is our very first episode together on Trinity Podcast. And I think together we're just going to really explode the world with the information we have in our pockets. I'm going to let you start this off with, what about multiple streams of income,
Absolutely. So in my experience, looking at over 6,500 credit reports and kind of learning the financial game, I've noticed that people that have multiple ways that they're making money, if one thing goes down because of maybe an economic downturn, they have some other way to generate income that doesn't require you to go work 4 jobs. And so if you have assets working for you while you sleep, then that seems to be what the multimillionaires do. And so if they're doing it, then it seems like a sure smart plan for us not multimillionaires to just level up
the breadcrumbs, right?
Level up our life and figure out a smarter way.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's so funny. We were watching a movie last night and I saw a preview to Girl in Progress, I think it was. And it's about a single mom raising her kid and not doing so hot of a job and trying to pay her bills. And she goes, "Oh, I need like 6 more jobs just to live." And that really hit home for me and made what we're doing today, you and I, so important to get out to America. We're just in such a shit show for our economy. And most people don't understand how multiple streams of income work. How do they get started and, what to choose from? And there's like a ton of questions. And if you guys are watching this on YouTube, if you can comment, or if you're on Facebook, we're going to stream this everywhere because I think the masses are where it's at to really educate and get people, looking at something another way. So comment down below if you have any questions, thoughts, patterns in the comment section, and let us know so that we can bring those to light. We would love to hear from our audience and see what's going on with you. But so how do you feel, Becky, just real quick, with multiple streams of income? Why would somebody even think to look? Where people at? You know what I mean? Like, why would they think to look for multiple streams of income? What does that mean to the average American? How do we bring it to the forefront of their mind, other than this podcast, obviously? But
yeah, I think that people don't think about that at all. I think that, but that a lot of people know that, like, they hear here and there that, like, real estate investing, real estate's the way to go. And so, I heard that too when I was in my early 20s. I heard that and I thought, oh, that sounds awesome. I'll go figure out this game that these people are playing. I'll go purchase 30 properties. I'll work really hard to pay them all off. And then I'll have an income from all those rental properties. And then I can go travel the world. Like, that was my ambition in my early 20s. And then I didn't realize what playing field I was on until 2008 happened. And then I figured out real fast that the playing field was actually rigged not in my favor for the field that I chose to go into, because I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have somebody there to say, no, turn right here. No, turn left there. And let's go here just a little bit. And so that's why, I enjoy what you do so much, Joanna, because you do want to help, that single mom like you were back in the day. And you really want to help people not make those same mistakes that you've made with your 20 years of experience of doing real estate. Um, and just to kind of circle this back around a little bit, one of the things that I also didn't realize until I took this financial fitness course that pulls back like this matrix of how that really works, like the offense, defense, and playing field of money. One of the things that I never realized until I took that course is actually working two jobs. That second job that you work, when they really broke down all the math on that, you're making like an extra, the way the math worked out on that particular example, you made an extra $1,000 that year. Um, just
That's
to,
disgusting.
right, just to like $1,000, you worked your whole, like every extra moment that you had that you would have been spending with your family just to try to make ends meet. And you don't realize that you're kind of outworking yourself. And so when I realized that, I was like, there's got to be another way.
Oh, yeah, good point, good point. And what we're going to totally get into the money matrix. That's part of our Trinity training, real estate, business and personal credit, and the money matrix, how it's rigged against you. So we're going to get more into that. But today I just really wanted to focus on multiple streams of income in a fact of, so if you're a W-2 person, you're spending way too much in taxes. And the people that vote for the president about taxes don't understand taxes, because you wouldn't be doing that if you really did. And I've read tax law. I actually trained in taxes, so like that was my jam for a long time, to understand taxes and train people on taxes. So I totally geek out on that. I'm not here to give any kind of legal advice or financial advice. I'm just here to say that if you understand taxes, you understand how to build wealth. Taxes are in our favor most of the time. So if you understand how it's written and how to use it, it is in your favor. And I'm going to bring this one thing up, and it's going to sound political, but it's not. Trump, we'll bring him into the picture just for a second, because I'm not getting political here. He actually filed bankruptcy. It was $1 billion bankruptcy, and got so much flack for it. But yet there's millions of Americans that file bankruptcy all day long. But they just felt like he was evil about it because it was $1 billion bankruptcy and not just like a house and some credit cards, right? Like it's the typical American. But he understands tax law. That's what I really want to bring to the table here. And he puts his eggs in multiple baskets. That was a casino that he filed bankruptcy on. He owns a ton of real estate and has his hands in multiple businesses. So that's why we really want to, I mean, like him or not is not even the question here, but my point is seeing how a multimillionaire, how billionaires create wealth. They have multiple streams of income. They have their hands in multiple baskets. So that's why we really want to bring this to the table, because they don't teach this shit in school. That really just irks me, but and sorry for the potty mouth there, but it really does irk me that they don't teach this in school. Why do you think that is, Becky?
Well, because as my mentors so graciously pointed out, Orrin and Chris kind of had this amazing major leadership convention that I just went to, and they talked and they spoke on the billionaires. Their mindset really is that we're just kind of like cattle. And and it was specifically put that way, like the 95% of the population is just theirs to control. And so we're learning a lot right now about the people's platform and how to make that work for us so that we have that next stream of income based on helping people instead of helping billionaires make more money off of us by the back end stuff. And I won't get too deep into that, but everybody knows there's like whistleblowers and Facebook, and they're studying what we're doing, and social network, isn't that what's on Netflix and things like that? Like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
all this information out there about how they're studying human behavior always. That's like Google's always recording us, right? So they're trying to figure out our brain and how it works so that they can sell us products. And it's just this big marketing ploy, and it's kind of annoying. And so I think that if we pull back that curtain instead of keeping all this a secret, the things that we've learned by looking at everybody's credit report, I can see clearly that I can see what went wrong in somebody's life. But that's the thing, though, is something is always going to go wrong. It's how we deal with it, I think. And so if we had a plan B and C, or we even knew how to have a plan B and C, then we would maybe not have that tragedy on our credit, and in our life would be a little more stable. And so it's out there, it's possible to do it that way. We just need to learn the steps. And so that's what
Absolutely.
I'm so excited that you decided to get us started on this so that we could have this weekly discussion every week where we could bring up some of this stuff and
Yeah.
kind of show people some of the steps to take immediately that could completely change. Put a couple $100 extra a month in your pocket, figure out how to keep more of your tax money.
Oh, whoa. How to put a couple of $100 extra in your pocket. Let's just rewind to that for a second. Is that getting another job and spending more time?
No extra time. Net,
Net.
no extra time.
So I hate to interrupt you, but I think it's super important for people to understand how a few extra bucks. So now if you're making $10,000 a month, you might think, well, $200 is nothing to me. However, if you made $50,000 a month, like, wouldn't that change? Like, you could start with saying I did 200 extra bucks, and then you can end up making an extra, this is extra, $50,000 a month, right? Like, working that, and then 100,000 extra, like, without stopping what you're doing already. And this is what we mean by multiple streams of income. So if you're a brand spanking new, so this is what Becky and I do. We help the very beginner, we help the intermediate, and then we help scale advance, right? So if no matter where you're at, everyone could use an extra couple of $100. Maybe it's to pay for a VA if you have a business you're running, or maybe it's to buy the extra groceries or extra Christmas stuff coming up. We're all consumers. Please don't dive into that too much, but we're all consumers and want the best for our family. Maybe an extra couple $100 is where it's at for you to start. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, Becky, but I really just thought it was a huge point to make, depending on where people are at, because we have multiple listeners. If they're brand spanking new, they're in this hamster wheel of a W-2 life. An extra couple $100, you're like, what? And I don't have to quit my job. Or the person who knows there's another way, they just don't know how to get there. The intermediate person, right? They're looking, they're searching, and they're going, extra couple $100 a month. Okay, maybe 2,000 a month. Okay, maybe 5,000, right? And then here's this scale person that says, I could take this to 50 or 6 figures, right? So it doesn't matter where you guys are at. We're speaking to the fact of extra cash flow in multiple baskets, right? And why is this important to do? Like, what's so important about having multiple streams of income?
Well, I think the idea of making multiple streams for me, definitely making multiple streams of income is very appealing to me, especially the no extra time. Because if I had a $5,000 a month monthly residual income, whether I got out of bed or not, which is totally possible. Our business model that we've been sold is that you have to go to work, get a good job, and then you retire. And then once you
Oh,
retire,
our business model that we've been sold. Let me just
yeah.
like really highlight that too, because people go, oh, multiple streams of income must be a pyramid scheme, right? And they do this to you, right? Well, what do you think the government is? It's the top of the pyramid.
Well,
They sold you a business plan, and that business plan is what Becky's talking about: to go to work, go to school, and then get educated to get a good job, and yeah,
I mean,
go
that's
for
what they're
it.
teaching us in our curriculum in our schools.
Yeah,
To go to
yeah,
school, get a good job, and then retire on a half or a third of what you couldn't afford to retire on in the first place.
uh-huh.
And then go get another job so that you can pay your bills. And then work till you're dead. Like that's totally their plan for us. That's the billionaire mindset versus in the cattle. That's that whole plan that was sold to us. But also at the same time, I'm glad you brought up the pyramid scheme thing because I heard this the other day and I thought it was funny. Just because, well, when you go to work for Taco Bell, they're making money off you too. So it
Yes,
doesn't really matter what job you go work
the
at.
person that does the drinks, and
Yeah,
then there's the manager, and then there's the owner. Like, it's a pyramid scheme, right? Like,
they're all making
every
money off.
corporation out there.
Yes, every one of them's making money off of you. So that's kind of
Yeah,
a statement that I've heard a few times
yeah,
about the thought process. But and we're not even talking about that because we're talking about multiple streams of income. So
right.
we're talking about credit and how to make credit work for you instead of feeling like it's working against you, not to go get into debt and stay in debt and be in the debt slave system.
Mhm.
How to make money work for you and credit work for you too. Like it's just another tool in your toolbox that you're using in the personal side and the business side. And so, um, and the same thing with real estate investing. That's an asset that you have that you can use, like Joanna talks about for tax benefits and also to build another stream of income.
Absolutely, absolutely. So in just the real estate investing world, where I was brought up in, so multiple streams of income means multiple doors in our world, right? So we're like, okay, I want 100 doors, right? So I have 100 different incomes coming in. So that's multiple streams of income, but it's one asset class. So this is where I want to be clear to, because you can get jaded or slighted into thinking, Bitcoin's the only answer, or real estate's the only answer, or an MLM is the only answer, or you can go on, the list goes on. So this is why we really wanted to bring this to the table. Becky and I felt like, people need to understand what multiple streams of income really, really mean, truly mean. And it's not just one industry. So, um, how would somebody get started in choosing? How would they even choose? Like, what makes it a great? What makes real estate a great investment for somebody to have in addition to their W-2 job or their entrepreneur business? What makes Bitcoin, you know what I mean? Like, how would you choose an asset or an income stream? How would they get started? What do you think?
Well, I am taught by my mentors, and I love this, and so I take it into my business and everything that I do is taught to start with the dream. So you need to decide. You need to like we are taught as a society. What do you want to do with your life? We're not taught what do you dream about having in your life first to decide what you want to do with your life. What do you want to spend your time on? Where you want to be. And so I would say absolutely 1000% start with your dream because it's just such a different way to think. And I've had to hear that phrase for 2 years to even understand what that meant because we've been conditioned to hear, what do you want to do with your life so often that our whole society, that's how we think. And so to start with what's in your heart first and what you think that God's put you on this planet to do. Okay. And then work your way backward of how much money is it going to take to do that. And then, okay, then in this lane, I can make this kind of money doing that. In this lane, I can make this kind of money doing that. Had an aha moment. I mean, anybody can learn how to do anything if you just study whatever it is you want to learn. And so if you want to learn to be a doctor, you go to school to learn to be a doctor. If you want to learn how to get good with being with people and being around people, well, read books about how to get good with being with people. If that gets you to what your dream is. So whatever it is, if it feels like it's going to be uncomfortable, you can go learn it from anybody, because if somebody's done it before, then you can follow what they do. Just go pick the really successful people to learn from, so that you get where you want to go.
Absolutely. Super important to have mentors in your corner, by your side, so that you know to turn left or to turn right and watch for the landmines, because there's landmines everywhere. It doesn't matter what you do. Um, you know, whatever. I won't get into what's the safer thing to do, because that can lead into a whole nother can of worms. But what is a good time to start?
Yesterday, the day before yesterday, today, right now. One of my
Yeah.
favorite songs to listen to, because they talk about failure a lot in the community that Joanne and I are a part of, and they talk about failure is just a way to begin again smarter. And so there's this phrase in the song that I can't even think of the name of the song, but it's talking about burning your biographies. And so I think that's like awesome, because it's like, okay, well, every failure you've done, just let that go and start today and figure out what your dream is, and then start moving forward if you haven't started those steps. If you started steps and you're already in process of doing some of those things, well, then get with mentors to get you from point A to point B, like super fast, like that much faster. And then keep doing that. Hey, this didn't work so well, so let's make a new plan. Plan, do, check, and adjust type things.
Plan, do, check, and adjust. I love it. I love it. Yeah. I guess I would say my first mentor, but I think everyone in my life is a mentor. My first paid mentor, how's that? um, was all about fail forward fast. And I'm like, I don't want to fail. Why is she promoting fail forward? Like I couldn't get it. So if you don't get it, we're here to tell you. And I love the way you put it, failure is just another way to learn how to start smarter the next time. Right. So your past is the past. So how we deal with our future is by taking the past and adjusting to make a better future. In my eyes, anyways, and I see that a lot of successful people, they just go, oh, that didn't work. Let's do it this way. Right. And they take their failures, as we call them, and just make them better. They just tweak it to make it more of a success. So I think failure is a great learning tool. So I'm so glad you brought that up, because it just triggered my memory of my mentor going, fail forward fast. What the? So yeah, and we're taught in our schools to never fail. We're supposed to be perfect. We're supposed to get straight A's. We're supposed to, never copy from somebody. No, sit there like a good person and don't speak unless spoken to. And failure has always been like this 4-letter word my entire life of, oh my God, I'm not going to do it because I'm too afraid to fail, And so I'm glad you brought that up. That's pretty important to know. Like, so when you are choosing to do a multiple streams of income, like you're choosing to branch off into Bitcoin or real estate or whatever it is you're looking to create that cash flow from, an MLM or something, don't be afraid to fail and go, you know what, that didn't work for me. I'm going to go over here, and with everything you do, there's risk, even if you got a job, which people think, oh, I want a security of a job. There is no security. But even if you're going to get a job and you choose it because you think, per your research, this is what you want to do, and you're like, yeah, this is not for me, I'm quitting, this sucks, that some people would consider a failure, right? But The person who has a successful mindset, maybe you know it now or you don't, not yet, um, would say, oh, that's not for me. This is how I'm going to take this experience and move forward and choose something that's a better fit for me. Uh, yeah. So definitely, definitely. I love our community and what we bring to the table, both in your business credit world and my real estate investing world and the money matrix. We're going to get more into that. I promise you, as we move forward. This is our very first episode in having this conversation. So again, type in the comments, your thoughts, your feedback, questions you may have. We're here for you. This is why we started this, so that we could bring it to the masses and change America, because America is in a shit show right now. uh, and so we can give an example to get what should they think about for another source of income.
There's several. I mean, that's such a broad question. So, I mean, for me, I know I love direct marketing. I love real estate investing ideas. I love having my own business. But at the same time, what I'm really trying to learn how to do is get from the 95% population and move over to the 5% side. And I'm learning through a company how to do that. The leadership development company, they're teaching me how to get from that side of the quadrant to the other side of the quadrant, like the cash flow quadrant that Robert Kiyosaki talks about, that you and I talk about all the time. And so it's more than just doing it. It's more of a mindset and a learning curve. And so the more that I get into this, the more I enjoy the learning curve of things changing often. But a lot of people think, well, I have my own business, so that is my source of income. But the question is, are you working in your business or on your business? Are you, if you weren't there tomorrow, does your business keep running without you? Or are you the magic? Because if you're the magic, then you're still self-employed. You're still on that 95% quadrant. And perhaps you like that. Not everybody's comfortable trying to flip to the other side, but just like franchises and things like that, they're the ones that check in that you might want to do a franchise. I don't know where you want to get started with your roadmap to multiple streams of income, so that your economy is stable, no matter what our economy is doing. But I do know that it's really important now more than ever to figure out if that's what you want to do and start working towards it immediately, because of the playing field that we're on, that most people don't even understand.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I got to tell you that how I got started into real estate investing was back in my 20s. My landlord's daughter came to the door and said, we have to sell off some of my mom's inventory. And just to tell you guys how green I was, I didn't know you can own more than one house. Can you believe that? Me, I've owned multiple houses. Uh, I started out so green that I didn't even know that you can own more than one house. I had no clue about real estate. My parents rented most of our lives. And so when I heard that, it intrigued me. So you guys might think about that when you're out in the world, what intrigues you, and add that to your dream and your desires, as Becky was talking about earlier, to figure out what you want to do. But so she came to the door and she says, we have to sell some of our inventory. And so we got first dibs at buying the house. And my friend walked me through it, how to buy the house. And I said, you did this and you made this much. Can you teach me what to do? So that could be a way for you to, that's what I taught my son, by the way. I knew all the people at the gym, and my son was turning 18 and wanted a job. And I said, well, I can get you an interview. And so they gave him an interview at the front desk, right? And I said, you interview every single person that comes through that door. What do they do? Do you like it? And can you teach me? So these could be ways to get started. interviewing people in different industries. And he did. He found somebody. He asked everybody. He did exactly what I said. I was so impressed. He asked everybody, and he found this guy. He did alarm installation. And my son has been an entrepreneur since he's 18. He's now 33, and he's never had to have a job since that gym, right? And the reason I'm bringing this to the table is giving you guys some ideas to understand how to choose, first of all. And secondly, the reason I chose what I did, just to close that loop of, when my landlord's daughter came to the front door, and we bought that house, I'd come to find out she had a stroke. She had a stroke. So if you didn't listen to anything else in this podcast, listen to this one thing. She had a stroke and her life changed completely. She had been living off real estate, traveling, loving her life from the cash flow of the real estate investments that she had. And when it came time to where she couldn't do anything anymore because she had this severe stroke, she sold off some of her assets to subsidize her long-term care. So how many people here have the healthcare system that does everything for you? Probably nobody. How many people here have, the healthcare that's going to pay for, we're all getting older. I don't know if you noticed, nobody's getting younger, but we're going to need to have some sort of care when we're older. And if you're relying on your kids to take care of you, you've got the wrong business plan. So having multiple streams of income, having assets like my landlord did, helps subsidize what she had already had, long-term health care, but she got the best care because she was able to subsidize it with her real estate assets. So I think it's genius what people do to create your own world. And as Becky says, to start with your dreams. Start with your dreams and interview everybody. Find what you like, and then choose to learn more about it, and go from there. That's my take on this particular podcast of multiple streams of income. How I got into real estate investing, and then by how I chose, I taught my son to do the same thing. And he's been, he's traveled the nation. He went to the Bahamas before I did. He's been to multiple states, and he's more rounded as a human being because he was able to do that and meet so many different personalities and people. And I always taught him to ask a lot of questions. So if you're on the podcast, if you're streaming on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're finding this, please ask questions, lots of questions, so that you can get what you need from this. We're happy to give it to you. That's why we're here today. Becky, so what are some maybe things that you want to make sure the audience knows?
Well, you went into a little bit how you got started and decided what you wanted to do. And so I was one of the ones that I just started doing something. And I started out with my own businesses since I was 19, just because I just had that spirit of not really wanting to work for somebody. I did start out at Brahms when I was 16 because somebody, bought me my first car, but they said, okay, well, now you got to go get a job to pay for it. And so that's exactly what I did. And then I switched over to cleaning houses through college. And so when I started cleaning houses for myself, I was making pretty good money at the time, especially for my age. And I started to understand taxes a little bit more. And so I just kind of knew I didn't want to work for somebody. And so I stopped going to college because I realized I was doing that to please my family, and not necessarily because that's what I wanted to do. And that wasn't necessarily my dream. I wasn't going to use my degree for what I wanted to do. And then I kind of just drifted into like, hey, I started getting into the real estate thing and I started studying that, a late night infomercial. And then while I was in that, somebody was like, hey, you want to come be a mortgage broker? And I just kind of did that because somebody asked me, not because I had defined what I might want to do with my life. And I started doing that and decided that wasn't for me at all. it was a very stressful job, especially in 2008. That wasn't the right time to go try to learn how to be a mortgage broker. Started somewhere around 2006-ish. So I learned a lot about that, but that's when I started getting into the credit stuff because I saw there was a need for people to understand credit better so that they could understand the game. And so when I started getting into that, it was like, I loved it because I got the space to like show people what they need to do to go get that house if they can't get it. And when I realized that like 70% of the population had bad credit, like there was always going to be a need for people to understand this subject. And so I don't think I really defined a dream, a big dream. I just found a passion in something and just ran with it and learned as much as I could about it and kept learning about it and still learn about it till today. But I also have some other dreams that I've defined now that I have different tools in my toolbox to get there. So
absolutely. Well, you kind of bring it full circle for me because one of the number one things I saw in credit reports is medical collections. Medical collections is, I mean, life happens. Life happens. And that brings it right back to my landlord. Life happened to her. And if she didn't have the real estate to pay for her life, I bet you she would have had some medical collection issues. So I think that ties it all back in together with having multiple streams of income, because you really don't know what life is going to give you. And I explain to my entrepreneur clients where they're like, well, I'm making money. I have a great business. I don't need to do real estate or multiple streams of income, however you want to put it, because I have a great business, great running business. Well, now you have money. What are you going to do with that money? So here comes the tax geek in me, right? Like, what are you going to do with that money? And how are you going to keep more of the money you make, right? And the other side of that coin is, what if you had a stroke and you couldn't be in front of this camera anymore? You couldn't talk right. Maybe you got hit by a car. Maybe whatever happened, life happens, right? At the blink of an eye.
what if you were in the restaurant business last year?
Right. And all your eggs were just in that one basket. Like, what if a pandemic happened, right? Like, so not even just your health, the economy does something that makes it so that you can't do what you want to do. I'm just saying, multiple streams of income. I think it's come full circle, this whole talk, Becky. I don't know your thoughts on that, but it really comes down to, are you going to get shut down either, what you're doing right now, or are you going to go, okay, well, I can't do this right now. I'm going to do these other 3 or 4 streams of income. I still have those coming in. Or are you going to cry in your beer because you lost the only income you had? So something to think about.
Agreed. Well, I absolutely love that we're doing this, and I can't wait to see some of the subjects and the people, what they put in the comments so that we can, hey, I want to know more about this. Can you talk about this on the next podcast? I think that would be a really awesome thing to do. And then make sure to subscribe.
Hit the like button if you're on YouTube, subscribe so you don't miss an episode. You'll hear more from Becky and myself. We will absolutely be bringing you some top dogs that we're going to interview in Bitcoin, in understanding money, understanding taxes. Just because I'm a geek in it doesn't mean I'm going to train y'all on it. I'll get the professionals in here for you. And of course, my expertise of 20 years in the real estate investing side of it, and Becky's expertise, decades of experience in the business credit and personal credit, and how you guys can actually utilize it to change your life. Like, Becky changes lives with her business credit. Personal credit is like a step towards the right direction, getting that into the 700s and 800s. But wait till you guys hear about business credit and how you can utilize that to change your entire economic platform. And it doesn't matter what the economy does, because you'll be totally set up for success. With that, Becky, anything else you want to bring to the table?
Great.
Super, super. So just a reminder, this is the Trinity Podcast here. Joanna Wright, the real estate wealth maven, and Becky Estep Noble, the credit coach queen. I just love that. I just love it, love it, love it. So if you guys are wanting to hear more information about that or any of the things that we covered here today, please type in the comments. We're happy to do this for you. We're helping Americans understand and master real estate investing, business and personal credit, and the money matrix. I can't wait to dive into that. Who are we going to get to interview on that? I really want a really crazy person to explain that, because what we've learned is so amazing. So how much this affects you, we've learned how it affects you and how to leverage your Trinity wealth to take control of your own economic independence. So I leave you guys today. Hopefully this was helpful. Maybe just type value in the comments if you got some value here today. And of course, your questions are always welcome. And we'll see you on podcast number 2 next week.